Hi everyone, this is Renee Francis with A Matter of Perception, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Lucas Hernandez, missing out of Wichita, Kansas since last Saturday, and we are on the 9th day here, and he has not yet been found, and that's not a good thing. Anyway, if you are not familiar with what we do here in A Matter of Perception, otherwise known as AMAP, we use the stars to find the missing. That's it in short, and there's a lot more information that stands behind all that, and little by little we'll get to it, but lots to see here at our website. We have been struggling to get case illustrations done for publishing, and but when this little guy came across our desk late 11 o'clock on last Saturday night, we hurried and we got a map done for him, and we got it slung that link to that map and some information off to Wichita LE about 12:30 late Sunday morning. Took us an hour to pull it together, and anyway, we were really delighted when we saw that they had a intel, cell ping, or whatever they had that brought them up here to this area, because we had already highlighted this spot as a highly probable area for them to search, because there's a lot of planetary pull coming up here, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. So anyway, while we're here, whenever you come to one of our missing people's pages, you're going to see we try to give the information that we're using, how to use our map. I don't always have the time to pull a video together, but with this guy not being found, I think it's warranted. Anyway, so you can access his map on his page, but you're better off coming to this link here and viewing it in its own browser. Forget your cell phone, put it down, get on a desktop, and peruse his map on a desktop, because there's a lot to see. It's very complex. If it takes us a few hours to build this, then it's going to take you probably just as long to sit down and get familiar with it, okay? Once you know it, then you can try to manipulate it on your phone. Anyway, so anything down here really is for us, for our analysis, to figure out if we're looking for a live child or we're looking for remains. Here, in fact, with Lucas Hernandez, my guess is we're looking for remains here, okay? Now, this is not an easy call to make. Actually, it's a struggle to make this call, because I need to see what was happening at the time. Okay, so we got a pretty good birth chart here for Lucas, and we have Pluto on his ascendant. This point, the ascendant, the 6th house, and the 12th house. These are all health houses in our chart. So we have a malefic planet, Pluto. I don't care what anybody says. I still consider Pluto a planet. When he rocks over when he rolls over one of your stars in your chart, you feel him. Okay, in this case, Pluto, which it rules the corpse, its violence, its death, its regeneration and change. Okay, and it's going over his ascendant, which rules his head, which rules our ascendant in all our charts. This point right here rules how we walk into a room. How do we come in? What do we do first? This is when we're born. We come out head first. So that's why this rules the head. This wheel is nothing more than the wheel of life, and it's also a compass, just like the compass you're going to see on Lucas's map. Okay, if we scan it all the way down, we went out about, how many miles did we go out with Lucas? We went out 58 miles. I personally, at this point right now, I don't think he's any farther than that. But he certainly can be. But this is a compass here. So, but when you look at Lucas's chart, any chart is also a compass, because it is measuring the planet's revolution around the sun. And celestial, the celestial coordinate system is like the geographical coordinate system, wherein 0 degrees begins in England, Greenwich, England, and it's called the prime meridian. 0 degrees begins there, and from that point, all the longitude lines are measured all the way around in a 360-degree circle. And the planets are also measured in a 360-degree circle. So when you look at this chart, it's acting as a compass, okay? So, but the only problem here is that Aries is 0 degrees, and starts with the sun when the sun moves into Aries in spring on the 21st, roughly. On the 21st every year, the sun moves into 0 degrees Aries. So time is what sets the stage for where all these planets are going to fall. We want to know what the backdrop is. Remember, the ecliptic, the constellations is the backdrop to the ecliptic. okay? And then all these planets are traversing that ecliptic, and they're measurable there. We can't get a spaceship to Mars if we don't know where Mars is, okay? So again, the geographical coordinate system is a man-made construct, and the celestial coordinate system is also a man-made construct for the math so that we can measure things, okay? And that's all we're doing here as a matter of perception, is we are measuring the point of disappearance to the point of recovery, okay? A lot of people come to our things, we get comments, oh, it's, you know, it's confirmation bias, wherein what their meaning is that we're only using cases that it works. Wrong, okay? If we can find the data on a case that there is a date that person went missing and a time, okay? We don't always need the time. We would love to have the time, but we're not going to stop looking just because we don't get it, okay? We're going to look, because mostly all these planets, like when Allium disappeared on March 30th, all these planets were holding these degrees. The sun could have been maybe 9, 10, or 11 because he moves 1 degree a day. The moon, however, moves 13 degrees a day. So this is where the moon helps us. When time helps us, because now we can narrow down this degree of this moon. But Mercury's pretty much going to be in the 29, 28, 27 degrees, because, you know, he's fleeting. He's 81 days takes to make a revolution around the sun. Okay, but Venus, she's going to hold the 1 degree. Maybe she might move 2 degrees. Here's your minutes. Okay, once the sun is 10 degrees Aries in 43 minutes at 11 p.m. Okay, this is going to tick like a clock here. Once it gets to 59 seconds, it's going to turn over, and this is going to become 11 degrees. Why? Because there's 60 minutes in an hour, right? So when I said seconds, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the clock. All right, so, you know, the compass here is 360. If we divide it by the 12 signs of the zodiac, each get 30 degrees. So that's why this sun here in Aries becomes 0 degrees, 10 degrees. The moon in Taurus begins at 30 degrees. So if we add 23 to 30, it's 53. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. It's going to be 53. It's going to be here. Taurus is here. Venus is 0 degree Aries, so it's 001. So we're back up here with Venus. Okay, the vector bearing the vector, if we were going to measure out Venus on this map, would be up here. So that's what's happening. There's 2 ways that planet's measurements are expressed: in their degree of the sign, and then their total degrees of the 360 degree compass. Okay, and if we want to land a rocket on Mars, we got to know where Mars is. Okay, so and we have to know where Mars is going to be when we want to get that rocket there. So again, both the coordinate systems to measure these things are man-made constructs based on the 360 degree circle. And when you think about that circle, you think of pi and how magical that is, okay? And what we're doing here is just nothing more than the sacred geometry. We're actually showing the energy that these planets are making against the terrain. We're actually flipping them 90 degrees, putting them at ground level so that we can look and see what they're doing against the terrain. About 10 years ago, I had written to a gentleman who was part of the Mission to Mars team, and he was also a cartographer for the U.S. Department of Defense. And I read an article on the pyramids on Mars that he did. And I said, wow, I said, you know what, this man knows about maps, and he knows about the planets. I need to reach out to him. And I did, and I maintained correspondence with him about 10 years ago, sending him about 10 different cases. And I asked him, I said, I need somebody who's 10 times smarter than me to take a look at this and I need you to tell me why this couldn't work. And anyway, he wound up sending me a beautiful book on sacred geometry, and after putting on his own astrological hat and applying his own birth chart to where he lived, he had said that his Jupiter went out to where he went to college, and his Saturn went out to where he worked on the mission to Mars. But what he found really interesting was that the other end of his Mars, in the other direction on the compass over his home, pulled out to an area where he used to like to go sit and read. And Mercury's all about reading. So his last words to me were, it's frustrating because one planet is giving you the distance and the other planet is giving you the direction. He goes, you need to keep on looking, find the pattern, and make it predictable. And I think that's what we've done. I think after 10 years, I think that's where we're at here. So Anyway, I can't give you a whole a science lesson as to why these things work, okay? I believe it's gravitational pull. We already know the moon moves the waters on Earth with the tides. The Earth is 7/10 water. Our body is 7/10 water. So talk to a nurse, talk to a police officer, and how busy they are at a full moon, because that moon is pulling on a gravitational pull on the water, and our bodies, our brains are wrapped in water fluid, our hearts are wrapped in fluid, our lungs are wrapped in fluid. So it can't be that inconceivable that the moon or any of the other planets would have a tug on our physical bodies. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave that there. All right. So I've already went through here. There's just too many aspects here in Lucas's chart that is indicating to me that he has expired. Okay. He has Mars and Pluto conjunct. Not good. It's not that this is not a good aspect. It's not a good aspect when you find out this little kid's missing. Okay. If he wasn't missing and this aspect belonged to a little boy down the block, I mean, he might be over in the baseball field showing off his talents. Okay, because Mars is your physical body, and Pluto on top of that is going to give a strong sense of physical presence. Okay, so, but when you have a little boy that's missing, then this aspect becomes worrisome to me. Okay, we also have the time of his disappearance. We have Jupiter was up here going over all this right here. And all this Scorpio right here bothers me when it comes to a missing child, because it's just that Scorpio is also the sign of death. Okay, so there was a few other things. By progression, his moon. I always want to look at the lights. When I say the lights, I mean the sun and moon. So when he was born, the sun squared Saturn. Okay, not good for health. Okay, this could indicate you have to have the potential for an early death in your chart for death to even happen. Okay, and so he has 1, he has 2. This one's being triggered here. This right here, the Venus-Neptune conjunction was happening. It was triggering here. This early suggests early death. His sun is opposed to Jupiter. So this little one had a lot of energy. So that sun in Sag for Jupiter, he's probably a little jokester, like to have fun and joke around. So this type of kid, you know, with the physical restlessness, you know, it's going to take a certain kind of individual mom to, you know, control him, have the patience with him, have patience enough to direct this energy positive by, you know, him being more involved in physical activities and such like that. Whether he got that or not, doesn't seem like he did. Another thing is that Mars here was going over his, just went over his natal sun, and then now it's going over his progress. So there's just too many things here that are suggesting to me we're looking for remains. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. So this is very important to determine this, because if we were looking for a live child, we're gonna have to look at this map altogether different than when we're looking for remains. Okay, so a lot of times astrologers don't like to. A lot of astrologers out there wouldn't like the idea of me calling out about him being passed, because they don't like to predict it. But I can't offer anything of value if I don't do it. So again, I think that we're looking for remains here. Now, before I leave this, okay, where is he? Okay, well, this is the nadir. Oh, come on. All right, this is the nadir. This is going to show me his resting place. This lets me know whether or not where he is. Okay, where is he resting? This helps us too a little bit. But Venus is ruling it. She's up here in Scorpio. Okay, and Venus, that's water. That's creeks. That's canals. It's also lakes. But I'm going to show you something else as why I don't think he might be so much in a pond as he is in some kind of canal. Because also this Venus up here is in Scorpio, and Pluto rules Scorpio. So I want to look at him too. And now I know that these two are in sextile to one another. Okay, so this planetary pattern that we drew out for him in his birth chart, it's actually something we would really want to pay attention to. I'm not saying that he's on this one. I'm just saying that there's a good chance he could be on this one. But anyway, so we want to look at this, and then we want to look here. Now, Pluto is also drainage, because Pluto and Mars are the natural ruler of Scorpio. So they also too rule drainage, okay, and roads and concrete and that kind of stuff, because of the Capricorn and because they're in sextile. So I really want to say that I think the focus should be in some kind of the canals, okay, the washes that are in the area. If this was an impulse accident, and this was something that was not planned, and folks had to work quick, then they follow, people covet what they know, and they follow the path of least resistance. So where I'm going to actually show you the cases here of this one over here, Michelle Lazinski, her son Timothy Wilsey, same type of case. She went to a carnival and said he was missing. And then this one here, she said that he got carjacked, right? All right, so we're going to look at those two just so you can understand the map, okay? All right, but anyway. All right, again, when you come into Lucas's page, it's best for you, pay attention to these numbers, okay? With his birth chart, his moon at 7 degrees Leo, the total degrees of longitude is 127. And isn't that the date you said that he went missing? February 17th. That date inverted becomes February 17th. But look at this. His moon and his Saturn are square, and even in a different sign at 6 degrees Scorpio, it's measuring 216 the day before. Okay, so I'm thinking there's very good possibility that something happened to Lucas the night before, and the whole next day, Saturday. I could be wrong, but the whole next day, Saturday, was the plan, the ruse to. All right, now what's my next step here? Okay, his chart right here also is actually pointing to a woman, but not only a woman. Okay, right here, this is him. This is his opposition. Okay. And the moon is ruling it, and it's here. And the moon in all our charts rules our mother, or the female figures in our life and our mothers, and it's square Saturn. So, Saturn is a nice planet to have in a relationship to one of your planets, because it stabilizes that. However, Saturn is disappointing. It's delaying. It is restrictive. When I see a moon Saturn in other people's chart, I might say, "Gee, was your mom strict? Were you very close to her, attached? Were you separated? Did she pass?" Okay, I know that this is going to bring some Saturn to a moon is going to bring some kind of sorrow connected with a woman here. Okay, and so this is telling me that a woman would be responsible. But, okay, this moon is also trying the sun, and that's men, and that's here, and his sun is opposing Jupiter. So it is not unlikely, okay, and not only that, but this Pluto Mars here, this is men too, and they're conjunct, and this is sextile to this here, and to this. So I can't help but see that there could be some other male involvement here, maybe help. I'm not seeing his dad, okay? I'm not seeing his dad as being part of this. I could be wrong, I'm just not. But another thing that I wanted to mention here with Lucas is that these dates are important, okay? I brought that up, right? Now, what date is coming up? We have 2/29 is going to be coming up, and that's Thursday. So that day could be Thursday is the 29th, or is Wednesday the 29th. This could be a good day for finding him. I've seen it before, over and over again. Kids turning up on dates that are in accordance with these numbers, okay? Not only in their birth chart, but for the Gone chart. But what I want to bring up here is really important, because I want to know what kind of environment, what kind of environment is he going to be in, okay? I've already told you that this down here is telling us water, creekage, canals, okay? Yeah, he could be in a pond, but I don't know. When I get to what I want to do with his name, I'm going to show you why I think we need to be paying attention to the canals and the washes. Sorry. Okay, his Sun and his Jupiter are opposing one another 11 degrees. They're exact, okay? So as much as this aspect also makes him a little joker, it could have something to do with where he's located. And that could be, I want you to see this Sagittarius as being travel, and Jupiter in Gemini as being air travel. That's airports, okay? And there's 3 of them or 4 of them around where he disappeared. So when you look in, when we get over to the map, we're going to be looking at some of those areas, because I can't deny this and not look at those airports, okay? And see that they're surrounding some of the in line with some of the vectors that were drawn out based on these planets, okay? All right, so let's get over to Lucas's map. Okay, so I am looking at this map the same way that I told you I wanted you to go to it with this link. You can do it here, but you're restricted to this size in this window in your browser. If you click here, you're going to be put here. Okay, so now you have all these folders, and they can open, they can close, we can shut them off, and we can shut them on by using these eyes. Okay, and it will get overwhelming, and you want to get in the habit of shutting things off and turning them on. Okay, so here's all our locations of interest. Okay, we have some sources that gave us some previous home addresses. This is the point. This is the point of his disappearance, and we have hotspots here, so they're all yellow. Okay, if I put anything in green lines, I'm trying to make. What I'm trying to do is illustrate that there's a wash and canal in this area. And then if you open this up, so if you open this folder up, you're going to get all this. But once you have them turned on, close it. You don't need it open anymore, okay? Because if you hover over this and you click it, it's going to tell you where you're at, okay? So keep it closed. And then here's our hotspots, okay? If you open this just because you want to scan down them, you're going to see with your mouse, as you scan down them, they're going to highlight. Okay, like when we get over here to this Chisholm Creek, it highlights, okay? Or I think if you can even click on it, it'll take you to it. See that? If you click on it, click on that one, it'll take us around the map. So you can actually click on it, and it'll take you, jump you around, okay? All right, so you can either leave them on, or you can shut them off. You can close it and leave it on, or shut them off. You can actually shut them off in one click, just so you can see the area underneath here better if you go to satellite view. Don't forget to use your terrain view, use your satellite view, use your road view, and then your hybrid. Okay, your hybrid's going to give you satellite with the roads labeled. Okay, the major roads anyway. Okay. So I'm gonna turn off the hotspots for a little bit while we're here. So now this is the vectors that we based on his disappearance. Okay, again, we're gonna have 2 folders in here, 2 folders. One for the distance possibilities. Here, these are going to be for all the possible miles and distance. We went out 58 miles. Okay, went out 58 miles. And then we put the compass around it. Sometimes if Scribble Maps decides to do an upgrade, it might not recognize this compass anymore, and you might get a big X. If that happens, just come in here and shut it off. Okay, you don't need the compass. I need the compass. Okay, so just shut it off. It's here for right now, because if we vector out any more things, the compass helps us to measure that. Even though the Scribble Maps measures it out for us too, but we like to use the compass. It just helps us to eyeball it better and quicker. So every one of these radiuses are the distances, okay? And they'll either be exact for where he is, or they'll give you near distance. The 2.5, 5.7, this is all standard, okay, based on what the Justice Department, in conjunction with the Washington State, in their 600 child homicide study, actually their study's up to 821 cases now, is that they're finding that the majority of these children are found within a quarter mile from where they disappeared, from where they were last seen, okay? So we have to be a quarter of a mile, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile, and 1 mile out as a standard in missing children cases, okay? And this is based on their knowledge. But, okay, again, when it gets too busy, you can shut these off and then turn them on, okay? If you want to look at 1 mile out, you can turn them all off, okay? Leave the 58 on with the compass, because that'll just give you a clean design. Okay, but you can turn all these off, and then, so you want to look at 2.2 miles. You turn on the 2.2 miles, and there you are. And you can shut the rest of these off. And then you can close that. Okay, and now you're looking at 2.2 miles. And you are looking at the aspect I have turned on here is his Sun, Mercury, Jupiter square. Okay, so his Sun and Mercury were both 29 at the disappearance. Were both 29 degrees Aquarius. So that's going to be, if you should be able to hover over this. Why is it not giving me that? Okay, yeah, hover over and it's telling you what the vector bearing was that we brought that out. Okay, so we're covering the 29 degrees that they were, and we're covering the 22. So that's why you're seeing two nines. This one's 29, but it's a finishing point to the Sun, and then this one's 22. So you're going to have 29, and you're going to have 22 finishing points all the way around to show off the square. Okay. Now, if we just scan down here, see, now I'm not sure if they completely cleared this area up here. So this is still any washes, any rivers, canals going through this area up here. If they weren't cleared, they still might have to be cleared. Okay, because I don't know if I'm still so set off my heart that he's not up here. Okay, or anywhere up further up here. But if you look at Chisholm Creek, we got East 29th Street, and we have two planets exact conjunct holding the same spot at 29. So that was one of the reasons why April and I highlighted that area right away. And not only that, but because all this gravitational pull in the chart was at 3 o'clock when she said she put them down. Our last psalm was pulling up this way. Okay, so we like to pay attention to that. So we're not really like discounting this area still yet. I just don't know how well they checked it, how they cleared it. I would think an area, even just this right here, to dive it here, even this area up here is still a little possibility. Any of these roads, and once you turn these on, okay, so if I shut this one off and I turn on the ascendant moon Jupiter, okay, this is the moon at 22 degrees Pisces, very, very powerful in the charts of children who disappear, both the moon and sun. Okay, so we always put them up first because they are powerful. Now we got a moon square too, so let's see, this is the moon Pluto Jupiter sextile, okay, that's pulling up here, but it's also pulling out here. It's also pulling out over this water, and it's pulling out over this water. So it's a lot, but this would be my first area, and then this area down here would be my second because of the McConnell Air Force Base, and because of what I'm getting out of his name. So when you explore this, you're exploring this map right now with, let's see, we have the 6 mile Saturn on, okay, which is actually taking us just out a little bit past this park, okay, and actually we have an old residence here, or if somebody lives there, or dad or something. We're at that marker, and we have the moon pulling out here. Okay, so I don't know, something go bad south here, and she came up here. There's this. Why are the police here? I don't think that they're in there because I sent them a map. Hope they were in there maybe with a cell ping or some other intel, but the moon's going right through it, and they were up there looking. So I mean, I don't know how well their sonar is, and I don't know if they got in the water, but I still wouldn't rule this area out. We still have to check all in here. Now there's a creek that's actually, let me see. Let me turn the hotspots off so we can see this better. In this area here, where is that? Right here. Look at all this water coming in through here. All that. Okay? I did a Google Drive through here, and there looks like a little path, so there's this Chisholm Creek right here that's moving through here, and it's right near here to the Army base. Okay, this is the Army National Grove, I think. At the Humane Society. And this is the National Army Grove. The National Army card. And we got a wash going through here. Okay, so you know, I'm still not 100% off this area. It's hard. It's hard not to be. All right, let me turn that back on. All right. All right, so each one of them, you want to look at these one by one. And from what you know about the area, our maps are no good unless you know if you know how to look at a map and you actually know how to look at these areas. And you, from what I can see from a armchair view sitting here in Ohio, and what you know about the area, two different levels of knowledge. And, you know, so we count on the people who know the area to run through these maps and say, you know what, this area looks good. We got a lot of yellow hot spots in here because we're looking at it saying, okay, this road looks like it might, you know, be drainage and going over water. So then this one I really like too. And this one's heading down here to McConnell. And this one too is still going over this Glen area, which will be heading over this creek. So we have a lot of lines that's heading over there, right? Look, all those lines are heading up over there. So like I said, I wouldn't discount it yet. And I'm not saying don't go look in the other washes elsewhere because they're all possibilities. You know, when you come over here and you explore the case studies and you come down here, you're going to see that, all right, Allie, this is a good one. Allie was found right on the Sun conjunction, okay, in her birth chart, okay? She's found on her Jupiter square Saturn, okay? Her Saturn was 3 degrees. She's found 10 degrees. Jupiter's 8, Sun 7. So we're like Jupiter's line is 2 degrees away from where she's found here. So the reason why you're seeing 3 lines is because we have a 3-planet involvement, okay? April just added this case. I'm not too familiar with it, but what I'm trying to say is, like, all right, so this is the disappearance chart. He left his son at a baseball game or something, and then he left here the game. He's found here. So you see how this is just a little bit off this way, okay? So when you're looking at Lucas's map, you have to apply the same thing, okay? Let me get this one. Let me open this one. So we strongly feel that he's passed, okay? So if I look at this area and I'm looking for a child that I believe that's passed, and I see that this line is going over homes, then I want to go out or get close and see where, you know, is there a park? Where's there a possibility? Okay. If we were looking for a live Lucas and we wanted to be looking in one of these houses on somebody that could have taken him, then we're, you know, see, that's why it's important to know if we're going to look for remains or if we're going to look for a live little boy. So we would have to take this vector out until we got to a point like that. Looks like a little patch, and that looks like a little patch, and then we got a little area. So this is highlighted here because if I shut that off, sorry, remember you could shut them off to make them look better too once, and then just turn them back on. So I got a patch of land here with water and maybe a wash that's very close to this line, okay? So I want you to look past these lines a little bit with the knowledge of the area where you are, okay? Don't want you to think that he's going to be exactly right on the line. He can be, but there's a good chance that he's just going to be a little bit south, east, west, or north of it, okay? And these radiuses. So if we come back to here, let's just go down a little bit more. I'll show you. Okay, this little sweetheart, Dad, responsible for that one. Okay, so when he disappeared, now he went far, 105 miles, and he's coming up on Pluto at 17 degrees. The vector was from this point to this point is 17 cap, or 287, and Pluto at the time is 19. There is a wealth. Little Robert B came up on a Jupiter-Pluto square. Okay, so these kids that disappeared in the same timeline, they're coming up on the same aspect that was present for actually held was in aspect for a few months, because they're both outer moving planets, so they move very slow. So they're maintaining their degree in those sign signatures. They're moving very slow. Okay, he's right on it. Okay, he's in between the two of them, and this is his birth chart. Okay, see his birth chart is here, but now the vector's here. There's 3 lines all the way around. He's on the finishing point of it. But even though he had a Pluto in his birth chart at 8 degrees Capricorn, which would be the solid line, the finishing points are always the dotted ones. He was on a closer to the finishing point. Okay. Little Avante, they think that was a little accident, last seen leaving school. Sun and moon were conjunct in Libra, 7 degrees and 11 degrees. Okay, he's found 5 degrees, so he's found on the trine. 7 miles away, moon was 7 degrees Libra, right here. Okay. So this is what we're doing. A lot of people want to say, oh, it's they're just using cases where it worked. No. If I find a case where they're giving me a date and hopefully a time that child disappeared, and they're telling me where they disappeared, and they're telling me where they found them, I'm measuring the point of that disappearance to the point of that recovery, and then I am paralleling it against here. Okay? I want to know why this guy up here, let's go back up to Anthony. Where is he? All right, this guy right here, right? Look, I'm showing you here. It moved over a little bit. It's not right exactly on these lines. I want to know why. Maybe when he disappeared, maybe, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know the case here. The cause of his death has not been determined. It could have been foul play. So maybe they held on to him for a day. Maybe that's why it's not falling exactly on there. Maybe he was held for 2 days before they just... I don't know the reason why, but when they are off that far, I want to measure them that far, and I want to look and see what was going on in that chart to say, well, in this case, when we didn't get it so exact, this was going on. I want to learn. I want each one of these cases to teach me. That's what each one of these kids in our studying and the adults are doing for us. Okay, so then do we have his birth up here? Okay, so we have his birth up here. Now he had the Sun 5 degrees Virgo, Pluto. They're highlighted. April did a great job here highlighting them in blue. He had the square. Okay. And he's on the other end of it. He's on the other end of Pluto. This way. He's on the other end of that. Here. Okay. Right on it. This is 5. Pluto was 7. It's 2 degrees off. 2 degree orb off. Okay. They found him in the water. All right. So with Lucas, let's get back here. Where is the map? Okay. So now this is the disappearance, right? Like that's not enough. Like this is not enough patterns to look at. We're not doing our job if we don't go over these charts with a fine-tooth comb and see what all the patterns are doing, what all the planets are doing. I know it's a wealth of information, but any search and rescue effort is going to start looking at a map. We've only taken the map of the area and we're putting these patterns on there to actually show where the energy is pointing. Okay. So you have all these, and they each one of them have to be looked at. So let me just shut the missing off, okay? Now, once you get in here and you're familiar with that folder and those patterns and where they're going, let's go see Lucas, okay? So in his chart, these are all the miles that are set up, okay, that were being offered in his birth stars, okay? And what you can turn them on, like right now let's turn them off. Let's turn the 4 miles. We went out 4 miles with him because we saw his Uranus was 4 miles. Okay, let me shut that off. I'll leave the 51 on. We went out 4 miles because we were seeing that 4 miles took us right at the edge of this little park here. So it would give us, if he's in here, it would give us that his Uranus measuring 4 degrees would give us the near distance if he is in this park. Okay, here if he is in this park. But what if his ascendant at 22 reduced to 2.2 gives us his near distance? We got there's an area there. I think that was a previous address. And then you would look at all these lines. The solid lines and the dotted lines are just as potent. A lot of people ask us, what's the difference? And the difference is that these is actually what the planet's measuring, and this is the finishing point of that pattern around the compass, okay? Because this point energizes that point. Remember how I showed you that he was found on the opposite to his Pluto? So if this is Pluto and he's found on the opposite, that's this line. So it's just as important. We're only differentiating them by being solid and being dotted so that we understand when we later go through this. We want to know how many cases were found on finishing points and how many were actually conjunct planets. Okay? So again, this is not so much for you to understand as it is for us to understand. The only thing I need you to understand is that they are equally potent for directions, okay? So again, once you turn one of the distances on that you want to look at, okay, and you can, scan in and see where this is. Now remember, this is going over houses, okay? But this area isn't, and then off this on Prawny, we have this here, right? Do I have my hotspots on? I do, okay? And I like this road Prawny here because right when you get here, it starts to get filter out. So where's drainage here? Road's going over drainage. I'd walk this whole thing right here and look at the drainage on the side of the road. I can't tell you how many kids are in our study that they just tossed them at the end of the car into a ditch alongside of the road. They're typically not found that far. 100 feet off the road is a standard. Anyway. All right. Okay, so now you have all these patterns, okay? You turn them on, turn them off. Okay, so just about every one of these patterns too in his own, oh, that's missing. Turn them on. For Lucas here, okay, again, we have a line, finishing point going over this area up here. What else is going over there? Okay, we got his own Uranus coming up here. Sun is part of it. I have 2 on. What else we have going through there? His Mars, Pluto, Uranus square is heading up through here. Now, what if he's not over here in this park? What's up here? She could have just taken this whole Woodlawn Road right up here. Okay, April highlighted this thing off 77 because I think she saw a creek up here. We did a lot of highlighting. Okay, look at this whole wash going up here. Okay, running all these roads. Here, okay. All right, so again, you look at them one by one. It's a lot. I mean, the map has to be studied. It has to be studied with the area and what you know and where you know these washes are. So again, all these can be turned on and turned off, okay? And then, of course, we got your person of interest in here, right? And where she's pulling. Okay, and she's looking at her. Now, we don't know exactly what time she's born, so we got a moon here at sunrise. Okay, heading up this way too, again over this park. It's also heading down here to her Mars. Okay, that's your Mars energy. It's running over this Prawny Road and this East Harry here. It's running over this creek, but I'm sure there are washes and drainages all in this area out here. But if, she worked quickly, the reason why, I'm going to get to the reason why I'm highlighting areas in here close is because of things that I'm getting out of his name. So you do these and you do one by one, okay? So I know it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot, but it has to be explored with a knowledge of the area. That you're not going to find it without thinking about it. And if we don't find them, searching for them. If a search doesn't find them, then hopefully we're going to cross our fingers that jogger or dog walker, hunter, or somebody out for a stroll will come across them very soon. I hate to think that we're going to have to wait 11 months like we did for Timothy Wiltsey here. Timothy Wiltsey, when his mother said he disappeared from a carnival, his point of disappearance was here, point of recovery was here. He was found on the ascendant when she lied and said at 7:30, turned away to buy pop, that police were never able to substantiate that she was even there with him. Okay. And so this is where his charts work in here. His first sneaker was found somewhere in here, but this is all Raritan River, so this gets flooded, and his remains were found in a tire, in a truck tire with his blanket, and that's actually how they got her, because a babysitter identified the blanket like years later. Okay, she went years without prosecution, and I'm really hoping that this doesn't happen here. Here, let's go to his map here, Timothy Wiltsey. I know this is getting long, but you can always come back to it if it's too long. All right, so let's go to Timothy. We're going to go to New Jersey. Okay, Timothy was found. That's his birth chart. I didn't want to do that. I want to actually show you how it worked. Okay. So he was found on the square there. Okay. And we had the distance was 2.7 miles. The ascendant was 26 Scorpio. He's found 2.7. So it gave us a near distance there. Okay. And then that's his disappearance, his birth. His birth chart, we had his Saturn, and his birth was 21 degrees Scorpio, so it trined the 21 degrees Pisces. So he was found in his birth chart, finishing point. Okay, and he also had his Pluto. I believe his Pluto was, let me shut that off. His Pluto was 2 miles, 2 degrees Scorpio, and he's found 2.7 miles from there. But his house, his residence is actually over here. And all the things in the chart work out to this area too, but in another way. I believe he died the night before. Same thing with Timothy Wiltsey. He had a date in his chart that talked about the day before she reported him missing. So a good chance that Timothy Wiltsey died the night before too, and then the whole next day taking him to a carnival was just a ruse to report him missing. And then of course we know the Smith babies, right? She lived here, remained recovered here. It was 8.3 miles, which was the sum of the Sun and Saturn, which gives us 7, but actually the Sun was very late in its minutes, so it would have been 3 degrees very shortly to give us the 8. And then we had the vector bearing to one point was 13 degrees Gemini. And then for the 911 call from the chart, it was the ascendant Mercury trine heading out there. Okay, so even the lie chart, when she said that she, got tagged. And then each one of these little babies, they're working too. Michael Tyler's birth, found on the Sun-Mars-Mercury conjunction. There's a conjunction in his chart. I didn't have time to dumb this up. And then, so all this was trining this point here. Okay. This is Tyler, his date of birth. He had a Sun-Jupiter sextile. 13 degrees, 13 Gemini, so it was exactly 60 degrees away from here. But you're seeing 2 lines because this one's set for 10 in air, fire. This is air, this is fire. You're seeing 2 lines all the way around. So he's found on the sextile. Okay, so that's how important little Lucas's own birth chart over his residence can be for us too. Okay, and here's Susan's Mars-Venus trine that she had in her chart, went right there. Her Uranus was 13 degrees Libra, and she decides from her home to go into a direction that's 13 degrees Gemini to say she lost her kids. Okay? Mars Uranus. That was a pretty brazen thing to roll your car into a lake with your boys in it. And that's what, it's very absurd. It's bizarre. Uranus, and that's what he does. Okay? The Predators page, you can go here to the Predators page and see, here's Wiltsey. She had a 9 degrees. This is not finished being illustrated, okay? It's really hard to actually find the time to, prep everything to get ready to do a video. But the vector bearing from here to where this is where his first shoe was found, No, this is from her residence. This is not from I'm sorry. This is a 309 from her residence. This is not from all these Predators are from their residence. On here, there's a bunch of them that come in here. And this one you can actually peruse on your own. Let's get back down to here. Okay, so we got a 9 degrees Aquarius. So I'm looking in this chart for something that's fixed because Aquarius is a fixed sign. And it's air. So I'm going to look for anything that's air. I got a moon that's 21, but we don't know what time she's born, okay? The only thing that I have closest to this, we can go back about 6 degrees and be somewhere at 15, which would put us here, with a vector bearing here for her. Or we can just look at this Mercury, which is squaring this point. So she had a whole lineup of Scorpio here. He was in the water, in the silt. Okay, that's what she did with him. So these all vectors have to, so all 3 of these have to be drawn out, and then you'll see 3 lines heading this way. You'll see 3 lines heading. I'm going to square this with the moon. So this would be a square pattern that you'd see here once that got finished being vectored out. I just have to watch my clock here for a minute. I might have to go over it a little bit. I know this is getting long, but anyway, it's important that I, put the time in here. The time every single day, hoping and crossing the fingers that they were going to find him and in that park, and it hasn't happened yet. And I don't want to see 11 months go by like Timothy Wiltsey, because Timothy's case is a great one. Okay. Dan O'Malley went bird watching over on the Olympic Drive, okay, and he found a Teenage Mutant Ninja sneaker. And then he went and he called the police, and the police then showed it to the mother. Mother said, no, that's not his, okay. He was so disturbed by it that he still reached out to the paper and told them that he found the sneaker there, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sneaker. And the paper wrote an article, and an FBI agent read it. And then the FBI agent, together with O'Malley, on April 6th, went over to the area and they toured it. And it was the FBI agent that had the cops get back in there. And there it was, found the second sneaker and his remains in the tire, okay? So what happened was the FBI did some digging, and he found out that the mother had previously worked over here in the Raritan. This area right here is all the Raritan. Let me see if I can get in there better for you. Hold on. I picked this case to illustrate for you because I think it's really important. We've got to go back over here to New Jersey. Okay, this Raritan River right here, this is all an industrial park. Okay, well, this is an all industrial park. Okay, and she had a job in here. And the FBI found out that she had a job in here. And then this guy finds a sneaker over there, same sneaker that was reported missing. And then he finds out that she had past employment there. I mean, why didn't the detectives work on this case then and figure that out? I don't know. So when you're looking at here, the more you know about her, the more you know about anybody she knows, where her family lives, okay? There is a good chance, too. I want to bring this up. There's a really good chance that because of Lucas's birth chart, okay? Remember what I said down here, that this is rules here? And I didn't even get to his name yet. Hold on. I know this is getting long. Oops. Oh, please. All right, there we go. The ruler here is up here, and that's on somebody else's. This is right conjunct in somebody else's property that she knows here. Okay, so let's leave it there. So we're going to leave it there with the stars for right now, but there's something else that I need to show you. So there's a good chance that he could be in an area that's going on their way to somebody that she knows, and even their property, if they have washes there or a road used to get there, okay? I just don't like that this planet ruling this resting place is up here. If this is Lucas and his resting place, his property, where he lives, his neighborhood, and this is his open enemy, this would be property that's related to her somehow, okay? That's how that's read. All right, so let's dump that. All right, I'm really going to try to wrap this up here, but before I wrap this up, this next part is going to be a little scary, okay? I never, ever work on a missing children case where I do not look at their name. I want to know Timothy Wiltsey, okay? What did I tell you about his shoe? Okay, we had his shoe. Dan O'Malley, we found him because Dan O'Malley found his shoe and didn't give up on finding that shoe, okay? Wittily. Get the word wittily out of there, okay? My whittly shoe. Oh, stop. It's not going to give that to me. Okay. My whittly shoe. I got a T. Oh, let me do it this way. Hold on. What I'm trying to say to you is the anagrams, okay? Very, very important. This is syntax, okay? This is the sound of things, okay? This is sand vibrating to sound, to a different frequency of sound. It creates symmetric patterns, okay? Pretty much what we're doing with the lines from the planets is we're creating these trines and squares patterns, okay? But sound does the same thing. They're doing so much with sound right now on healing cells and breaking up cancer cells, and sound is very, very powerful. How we speak, how we think, how you sound, okay? Sound is very valuable in the vibration. It shapes itself, okay? Now this is sound against water. These are pulsating stars, okay, that because of their light and their pulsating, they're creating a vibration, and they're creating patterns, okay? This is science. This is a picture that's come from a science article that I found, and I just wanted to demonstrate this real quick, okay? This is water being, I forget the megahertz, the hertz that it's being vibrated to, but this water is creating, look, those square angles, okay? That's sound. This is all sound vibration, shaping this stuff into matter, okay? So we look at Timothy Wiltsey's name, okay? I can make the anagram out of here as I whittly shoe, and he was actually found because somebody found his shoe, okay? This is not going to work for me right here. I'd have to write it out for you. Whittly, okay? I get T left over, right? And then my, with the M and the Y. This is what's left over. My whittly shoe. Okay, and that's how he was found, because of his shoe. Okay, this is just one thing, right? Now I'm gonna punch. There's other stuff that comes out of here, but we're just running out of so much time. Here's Michelle. This is his mother's name, Michelle Ladzinski. Okay, homicide, child, kill, me. Okay, if we want to take out child and kill, okay, so. What you're seeing here is these letters. This is a program. I used to do this all by hand. I used to sit with the dictionary and get all the words that would come out of a child's name by hand, okay, until I found this program to help me do it. This child here is taking the letters out, and then all the words here are what's left over in black, okay? So now we have kill, so let's take that out. See, now that's gone. Now these are the only ones that black are left over. So, you know, here, Z, me, the Z's left over, okay? So what do I got? I got Z noise, me kill child, because, you know, Timothy was, you know, too over anxious, too, you know, high strung. She didn't have patience, okay? So Z noise, you kind of get like a feeling of a little kid with, you know, playing with a car, you know, and she just lost her patience, and, you know, it all went down south from there. All right, so let's look at Lucas. Okay, because Lucas is, I've been playing with his name since this happened, and we finally got a middle name for him, so that helps even more. So what I do is I highlight the words that I can find in red that I don't like, okay? So we already have the word searched, okay? We have the word search coming out of here, and we have null, which means nothing's coming out of it, okay? If I can go here, and it'll give me the anagram of, you know, seeing that it wants to move around. What happened was, you know, nothing's happened up there yet, okay? So up at that park, didn't find anything, and look, case hardened. Of course it is. It's 9 days later, and we have no Lucas, okay? But we got the words area. But here's what I want you to look at. Here's the word canal. Remember what I told you about that Scorpio, okay? And then we have the word land and lane. Let's do lane. And then we have the word, where is it? Hold on. I got to find it. I can type it in and find it. And then we got the word under, okay? His name is telling us, who knows who's over there? Maybe my Tony from, I think Tony was born in Wichita. Maybe she got him when he crossed over. But he's under Canal Lane. Now this is telling me, what's the Z and the L? I don't know what they could stand for left over. Okay, but the two letters, after we get all this, the two letters left over are L and Z. I don't know what they can stand for, but this is telling us he's under Lane Canal. Okay, what's that? That's a wash. Okay, that's a road that's moving over a wash. That's a road moving over a creek. That's a road moving over a river. Okay, so that's where we need to be. Okay, like I don't think that, you know, we don't have roads that move over ponds, but we have roads that move over washes and canals and channels and such. So that's why I'm dead set on where that if, you know, she did this really impulsively, that's what she did. She, you know, drove to where she felt that she could have pulled over and got rid of him. Okay, so that's Lucas. Now there's more in here. Okay, I'm just, we're over an hour with this video. And I don't want you guys to get crazy. You get sick of hearing my voice. All right, so, all right, let's look at her. All right, now here she is, okay? Now here's where it gets scary, okay? Manslayer, anagrams, this is what I'm showing you. I'm showing you anagrams, okay? But that's not the scariest ones. Hold on, I got to move it down here. Maims, slaying, small. We got a small male, okay? So what do we do here? We got a small. I have to find these. I can't. Okay. Oh, what's up? All right, let me go get down. Small male. Small angel. Right? All right. That's not the one I wanted to show you. Hold on. Oh. It is one of them I wanted to show you. It's not the one I wanted to show you yet. Oh my God. This one here. The word missing comes out of her name. Okay. Missing male. Okay. There's a little boy missing under her watch and it's coming out of her name. Okay. Missing male. Lay. Near. And look, even my name, Renee. I don't spell my name that way, but it sounds like it. Okay. Missing. Look at. Missing male lay near. So he's not, I don't think that, you know, that he, you know, I'm not saying that she couldn't have taken him 20 miles. That's not what I'm saying. But you can drive 20 miles in 15 minutes. Okay, so missing male lay near. And then, oh my God, this one is missing near. Oh, okay. Now I got to show you something. And then we got missing near mall. Like her name is actually telling us where she put him. Now let's just go to his map real quick because I want to show you that your East Square Mall is right here with these lines, which is very close to this wash. Okay. Now little Eli Rodriguez, he disappeared out of California a few months back. Okay. He was walking home from school and he had to walk over a wash and it was a bad thunderstorm and he fell into the wash and the wash took him 15 miles when they found him. Okay. Because that water was moving so quick from the storm that it just swept him away. So if you guys are going to get a rainstorm, you know, I always say with missing people, pray for a storm because it has the ability to turn up, you know, the landscape, okay, and churn things up, bring them to the surface. Well, anyway, he was found 15 miles away from where he disappeared in a wash, okay? So if we're 9 days later, if you got rain and this water's moving here, if she dumped him here, you can find him now here if that water's going to move him, okay? So this you need to think along those lines, okay? And that serves for any wash, not this one. That, you know, if you elements there and your weather changes and you're going to get rain, you know that, and he's in one of those canals or washes, you know, he can move from the point of where she dumped him. What was the other one? Let me see here. I know, honey. I'm sorry that this is getting so long. Here we go. Okay, so I just showed you where that mall is and where that wash is. Now, this is just saying that, you know, where did she know to go? You know, why is she, did she go to that mall all the time? Did she, like, you know, did she covet what she know? Like Michelle and Susan Smith covet what they knew? Where, you know, Aries that they knew? I don't think that she went somewhere that she wasn't felt comfortable getting rid of them. And now here's the one that tells me we need to look by the airport, okay? And this is Lay. Okay, now we also have the word remains in his name. And aren't we looking for remains? We're looking for remains. And we're looking for them laying. Lay remains. Miles. Okay. Now look at these letters left over. N-A-G. Okay. And that could be Air National Guard. It could be Army National Guard. Okay. Let's go back to his map. McConnell Air Force Base is McConnell Air Force Base. Isn't that our Air Force? Wouldn't that be our guard? Okay, so that's why I highlighted areas here. Any washes around, in and around this airport, even if we have to go south here. If after this wash up here is searched and you got nothing, there might be some more that have to be looked at down there. Okay, but let's get back up here. Your Kansas Army National Guard is here, and you got a creek running through here. So I don't know. Did they check this creek? I don't know if I'm thinking from when he disappeared and the 2 searches that they did up in that area. Did they cover it? Did they get into the creek? You know, did you get rain? The rain could have moved them. Okay, so I'm not dead set against this area. Still not coming into play for him, especially with the moon and everything pulling up there in that chart. And knowing that, I don't know if there's any, look, and you got another little airport around here, up here, okay? So I think we got to pay attention to that. You know, I don't know what washes are coming off. I don't know. It's frustrating. Because we know he's going to be on, the thing is we know he's going to be on one of these patterns. Which one? Which one is he going to be on? And that's our struggle. And that's the struggle for any search and rescue effort is you never know. Without good intel, you never know. I sit here and I keep my finger. No matter how hard and time put into this case, I'm sitting here hoping she spills her beans. Okay. Oh, and then here, there's another one that bothered me about her. Okay, so now I just showed you how Lay remains neg miles, which would be the 4 miles out there to that reserve, okay, or the McConnell Air Force Base, which would be the 2 miles. What was the other one? Oh, here, this one. All right, so we have remains, and we have the word sling, and we have slain. We have sling and slain, right? Male, sling, male remains. Okay, you still think she didn't do it? Her name is telling us that, yeah, sling, male remains. So when you hear sling, that's like a throwing. So did she do it from a bridge? Okay, so there's a good chance that the water could be deep enough that we can't see him. Okay, and that, it's going to be sonar and divers having to get in to look for him. Or if she did throw him in some kind of wash that the water is deep temporarily, then we can. So there's a lot more things that I can get out of her name, but I'm going to leave it there. If you got Scrabble games, pull your letters out. It's the sound that our names make. It's going to attract to it what it is. It's equal. And then here we have airlane. Okay, so stuff here is kind of saying that, like by the airport, but I didn't knock everything down. But I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to hope, I'm going to cross my fingers that this little boy, okay, who seems like the first part of his life had not, with this Moon Saturn square he had, disappointment with the women in his life, that the women who are in his life now at his death with this Scorpio are going to just prove to him that not all women are bad. Okay? So that's it. We need to find this little one. He needs to come home. Not 11 months from now. Not 3 months from now. We need him now. It's unacceptable that this child is missing. And, you know, law enforcement has said that they're not going to stop looking for him. And I don't know. I'd like to know where they're searching today. It's Monday. Where are they searching for him? Are there divers somewhere? Anyway, this little baby needs to come home. And if you're using our map and you're out there and you're searching, if you see anything, you pick up the phone, you call 911, touch nothing, and hopefully the community will bring Lucas home. Okay? Because you know, they say that it takes a community to raise a village to raise a child, and so if that's true, then it's going to take a village to bring one home. It's going to take a village to find one. And anyway, we want to bring you home, Lucas. Okay? God bless.